day. Welcome to another episode on measurements using Keysight's FieldFox. In this video, we'll show how you can perform a EMI measurement, which is option 361 on the FieldFox. So what I have on the screen is the default interface that you'll be prompted with when you have FieldFox turned on. So it will be in CAD mode. So if you check the top left corner, it would show CAD mode. To go into EMI measurements, select mode, more EMI measurements. And then you'll be prompted with this interface, and the top left corner now would show EMI. So to check that you have that options available, you will need the option 361 license as well as the latest firmware release. So to check on your firmware release, go to System, Service Diagnostics, System Information, and under firmware release, check that you have version 12.31 or later installed on the FieldFox. So this is the default setting in EMI mode. The first thing you would want to do to set up for a EMI measurement would be to go to CISPR bands. So the FieldFox has the 5 bands listed here, and this would go according to the CISPR bands. I will keep this at CISPR band C, which is 30 to 300 megahertz. Then the next thing you would look at would be measurements. By default, it's set to fast assay scan, and that is a quick scan across the bands that you've selected to give you an idea if there's any abnormality detected. So in this case, there's no abnormality detected, so we would keep it as such, and we can go ahead and proceed with a CISPR band scan. When you select CISPR band scan, you would then notice it would take a little while longer to sweep compared to the fast sweep scan, and the number of points would now have increased from 401 to close to 9,000 points. These are all set according to the CISPR EMI bandwidths, resolution bandwidths, and that's the 6 dB bandwidths. So if you would like to switch around the bandwidths, the resolution bandwidths, these are set to EMI resolution bandwidths. So there's only a couple that you could play around with, and that would be 200 megahertz, 200 hertz, 9 kilohertz, 120 kilohertz, 1 megahertz. So I'll keep this back at auto because that's predefined or auto-coupled for that specific CISPR bands. So take note of that if you do change this around. So under advanced, you'll be able to change the sweep types as well, whether it's FFT or step. So default it's FFT, and you can also turn on or off an oversweep. So I'll keep it as that. So if you go to sweep 2 with typical to a spec end, that's single continuous, or you could do a restart. So I have this as continuous and I will keep it as such. You can toggle around or tweak the dwell time if you want under CISPR band modes. This is available when you're under CISPR band scan. You'll notice too that 3 traces are automatically prompted on the top on the soft keys here. So if you toggle this around, it would turn on and off the peak, quasi-peak, and EMI average traces. I will now just do a restart. Let me just do a fast scan, keep it at that, and do a CISPR band scan so that I get the full sweep again. You'll be able to look into the scale and amplitudes as well. If you under scale amplitude, if you go to more, you'll be able to change the units. If you're not used to working in this unit, you have an option to change it to dBm, dBm volts, watts, voltage, and as well as amperes. There's also a corrections that you can enter for the antenna if you're doing a radiated measurement versus a conducted measurement, um, and a few things there. So I would head back to measurement and leave it as such. I will not turn on the preamp. You would only want to turn that on if you're very sure of the power levels that you're measuring or expecting. Otherwise, keep the preamp off and do keep the attenuation levels. So in the event you want to zoom into a certain area, this does a quicker sweep across a smaller span to check for any abnormalities, and it would be centered across the bands that you've selected. So in this case, I have CISPR band C selected, so it's centered at 165. Now there's also a source available to you, and that is out of port 1. For EMI measurements, you would connect your DUT to port 2. So to just show an example here, I will turn on a signal from port 1, and under CISPR zoom scan, it automatically picked that up, so at 165 megahertz. So I can go back to a CISPR band scan, and I should now see that 165 megahertz prompted as well. So there we have. If you are looking at pulse measurements or you're expecting a pulsy signal and you're trying to pick that up, there's APD statistics available to you. As I only have a CW turn on, this would not be very meaningful. But if you do, if you're interested in pulse signals, you can go ahead and do an APD statistics. And in that case, you would then go to trace and select the inputs, whether it's for a histogram, and then from that you can do a CCDF measurement. As I mentioned, because I have a CW signal, not a pulse signal, this is not meaningful, so I'll just switch back to a CISPR band scan. So now that I have this, I can go ahead and do a limits so that I can be warned of any failure. The first thing I would want to do is go edit limits and turn that on. I'll just do a fixed upper limit across. So I'll have to set this across the bands that I have selected. And I would change this to 57 dB microvolts just to show uh, what it looks like. Um, You'll be able to add points too if you want, or an additional limit line if you want. So that's the two options you have there. And you're also able to build from trace, but that's only available if you're under fast SA scan. So this is not available when you're in CISPR band scan, and that is due to the limitation of number of points that you can build from trace. It's limited to 1001 points. So this is not available when you're in CISPR band scan because it's the sweep scan is auto-coupled and predetermined, preset to 8,993 points. So I'm going to hit exit. You can then save this limit and do done. So when you do that, you can have the option of recalling limits, and this is the one that I just saved. Next, you would be able to do a warning. So you can have it beeping on fail or on pass. I would just turn on a warning sign so that that's a good indication to me. So I've already set a fixed upper limit. I can then do an offset from here. So I might do a 5 dB offset. So you would notice that my limit line has gone from 57 to 52. You can also set a margin, um, and that, let me just put a margin of -8. So if there's any signals that prompted 8 dB away from the limit, you will be prompted with an error as well, a fail to indicate that it's close to your margin, and that margin is, in this case, 8 dB away from the spec line. So this would give you an idea if you might need to relook into your design or circuitry and you need to troubleshoot that problem area. So that's a overview of the EMI measurements. Again, option 361 available in FieldFox. Let us know if you have questions, and thanks for watching.